Hi, and welcome to Art with Mrs. Torres. Today we are going to be doing an art project inspired by the New York pop artist. His name is Dean Russo. Now, Dean Russo loves animals. Already, I love this artist because he loves to draw dogs, which are one of my favorite animals. We had a dog. His name was Boomer, and he lived for 9 years, and I miss him so much. And it would be really fun to do a project about your pet today. So if you don't have a pet, like I don't have a dog anymore, but I wish I did, then you can just follow along with me and draw a dog with me. Now, if you do have a pet at home, you could turn this into your dog or your cat. It's going to be a fun project, but today I would love you to try working with watercolors. So if you have a set of watercolors at home, I'd like you to gather that up with some water and a crayon and maybe a Sharpie marker if you have it. Now, if you don't have watercolors, you can always just use markers at home like Crayola markers or crayons or colored pencils or anything else that can get some beautiful, vibrant colors. So gather up the supplies you're going to need and then meet me back here and we'll do our project together. It's going to be fun.
Well, let's begin our project. We're going to be making a really cute dog painting today. Now, not only is our dog going to be super cute, but we are going to be painting with all kinds of colors. We're going to be using every single color in the rainbow today. Now, before we begin, these are the items you're going to look for in your house. A piece of watercolor paper. You're going to need a Sharpie marker. You're going to need a pencil and an eraser. You're going to need some paints for painting with. Now, if you don't have paints, you could also color your picture with crayons or markers. I will be using watercolor paint today. All right, so I'm going to have you pause the video and go gather the items you need. Now, if you are going to be painting today, I'd like you to find a little shallow bowl to put some water in. That way we can rinse our brush in between our color changes. So go ahead and pause the video, gather those items up, and meet me back here when you are ready. Welcome back. Let's begin our cute picture of our dog. So what we're going to do is turn our paper long instead of tall. Let's put it this direction. This is called horizontal. This way we have more room to draw our dog's head. We're going to be using a pencil first and our eraser, and then we'll trace over our lines later with our Sharpie marker. To begin with, we're going to take our pencil and find the center of our paper with our finger first, make a dot, and once you have that center, that's going to be helpful for us to draw the head of our dog. Around this dot, we're going to draw a large circle. So I'm going to move my hand around and make a big circle on my paper, using up most of my paper with this big circle. Now, don't worry if your circle isn't perfectly round. It won't matter. We have so many other things to worry about today, not how perfect our circle is. We need to think about what colors we're going to be using, whether we're going to be painting with red or green or blue or purple, and what color crayons we're going to be using. That's the important thing. Go ahead and erase that dot now. And let's get ready to draw a nose. So we're going to bring the nose a little bit lower on the circle right down here, and we're going to draw a big circle for our dog's nose. Now, is my circle perfectly round? No, and it doesn't matter. We're just having fun. Now we're going to draw the nostrils where the dog breathes. So I'm going to draw a line that comes in from the side here. And then I'm going to loop it around and bring it back. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, a line that comes in from the side. I'm going to loop it around and bring it back. Now the next part of our dog's nose is just a little wrinkle down here at the bottom like that. And once we're finished with that, we're going to draw a short line that comes down and curves around to one side like this. And we're going to go back to the same line, and we're going to curve it around to the other side. When I'm finished with that, I'm going to add a little tongue. Now I'm going to erase this little pencil line right here. So I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to open it up like this and erase right inside that spot. Then I'm going to draw a short line coming down for the dog's tongue. Now the next part of my dog is going to be his chin. So I'm going to draw a curvy rainbow smile, not a rainbow, a smile that comes underneath his tongue like this. And then I'm going to come over here to the side and give my dog some big floppy ears. So I'm going to come over on this side of his head and I'm going to bring a line that comes out. And then I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to loop it around and bring it back. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to go over here to this side of his head. I'm going to bring a line that comes out first, just like this one. Curving it down. I'm going to check and see if I can try to loop it around about the same place I did the other one. But if it isn't exactly the same, that's okay. And bring it back. Now, when I bring it back, I'm not going to bring it all the way up to the top. I'm going to leave a little space here. So now I'm going to go in here and erase this part of his head. I don't need that anymore. And I think I'm going to shorten this line just a little bit so it matches this line. And then I'm going to erase the head inside the ear. We don't need that either. Now, if I'm going too fast, you know what to do. You follow me along each week. You pause the video when you need to, and then jump back on when you're ready. All right, so now I've got two floppy ears. I've got my dog's front of his face. I've got a tongue and chin and a nose. Now I'm going to come up here and the top of his head, I'm going to darken that line so it connects to the ears. And now I'm going to darken this line. Darken this line. And my final part are my dog's eyes. So for today, I'm going to give you a choice. You can make your dog's eyes closed or open. So if you want to open your eyes up like the picture of the dog here, you can. Or you could make your dog laughing, happy. Now I can leave my picture just like this and my dog looks great. I could give my dog some eyelashes and make my dog a girl dog. Or maybe you want your dog's eyes to be open. And if you want your dog's eyes open, we're going to give our dog a big round circle inside. And then I'm going to color this part with my pencil, but I'm going to leave a little half circle right up here at the top and a half circle right up here at the top. Now I'm going to take my pencil and very softly I'm going to color this part. This is going to remind me later to use my Sharpie marker there. Now once you're done drawing whatever style eyes you want for your dog, then we're going to give our dog some shoulders and a neck. So I'm going to come down here on the side. I'm going to bring the shoulders out and out. And this dog is smooth, but I want my dog fluffy and fuzzy, like this dog. So when we get to our marker, we're going to make our dog either smooth or fluffy. I'm going to let you decide. So now that I'm done drawing the base part of my dog, I'm going to take my Sharpie marker and do the rest. So I'm going to take my lid off my marker and put it on the end. It's important that you always put the lid on the end of your marker. And the reason we do that is that way you don't lose the cap. Has that ever happened to you where you lose the cap and then you go to use your marker and it's dried out? All right, let's start with the top of our dog's head. Now you could keep your dog smooth like this, or you could make your dog fuzzy. I'm going to give my dog big, long, fuzzy hair up on top. And then wherever the pencil line is, I'm going to use that line to help me trace around the ear, but you see what I'm doing? I'm giving him long, fuzzy hair. And as I do this, do you notice all my lines are close together? They're touching. I'm not drawing them far apart like this. I'm actually drawing them very close together. Now, you don't have to make your dog fuzzy. You could have your dog smooth. Some dogs have very short hair. It almost looks like their hair, that they don't have hair. They just look soft and slippery almost. Like Chihuahuas, they have short hair. Some dogs have long hair. I'm making my dog fuzzy. Now, as I'm tracing around my lines, I'm not going to make the nose fuzzy, and I'm not going to make the tongue fuzzy. But everything else, I'm just going to make him fuzzy. Especially his shoulders. I'm going to make him have really long hair on his shoulders, like he's a super fuzzy dog. Now, when I get up to his eyes, his nose, and his tongue, that part I don't want to be fuzzy. Now I'm going to carefully trace his eyes. You might have decided to make your dog have closed eyes. It won't take you very long to trace it. But if you made the eyes open, at this part right here where I had you put the pencil, you're going to take your Sharpie marker and you're going to color that part in. As you are tracing over your lines, try not to push down too hard on our marker. I call him Mr. Chubby, the one that we're working with today. You can hear him make a squeaking sound when you push too hard, and that's not good because it makes the tip not be pointy anymore. It kind of breaks the tip down a little bit. Now I'm going to almost be finished tracing my dog. How's yours coming out? When I'm all finished with all of my tracing lines, I'm going to add a little line right above the eye for his eyelid. I'm just going to go right up here and draw one more line. I'm going to match it on this side. And then a short line underneath here. And now, when I'm all finished, I'm going to close up my marker. I'm going to get ready to get some crayons. So before we move on to the crayons, if you have a lot of pencil lines that you want to erase before we get to the crayons, go ahead and get your magic rub eraser if you have it. Open up your hand the way I've taught you, and you're going to erase in this space right here. I call it the duck's mouth. When you're all done erasing your pencil lines, make sure to brush all of those eraser crumbs onto the floor. Now our next step in our project is to make some beautiful patterns using crayons, just the way Dean Russo does. So I'm going to take my crayon cup. You might have a box of crayons. If you have a box of crayons, you can open up your box of crayons and sprinkle them like this so they kind of pop out of the box, or you can keep them in a cup the way I do mine. And all I want you to do is choose one color. It doesn't matter which color. You could even close your eyes and reach into your cup and grab a color. And what I'm going to have you do is make a fun swirly whirly somewhere on your dog. You don't have to copy where I put mine. You could put it anywhere you want on your dog. Now, with that same crayon, I want you to make another swirly whirly somewhere else on the dog. The same exact thing you just did with the same color. Now, we're going to do this 3 times. 1, 2, I need to make one more, same exact pattern, one more time. 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to put my color back in my cup, and I'm going to pick a different color. Now this time I'm going to make a different pattern, something different. You could do polka dots and color them in. It's going to look like a pink gumball. You could do squares. You could do triangles, but the rule is you have to do it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, in 3 different places with the same color. Then you can trade it out, choose a different color, and make a different pattern, something else. Maybe this time you're going to make triangles. When you're finished, you're going to put that color back in your cup, choose a new color, and make something different. Maybe this time I'm going to make a shape called an organic shape. An organic shape just means a wibbly wobbly shape, like this. How many times do we have to make whatever we're doing? It's not once, it's not twice, it's 3 times. So I've made 3 wibbly wobbly organic lines. Now I'm going to put that color back. I'm going to choose something different. Maybe you could make a zigzag line. I'm going to make a second zigzag line right next to it. It's going to look almost like lightning bolts. That's 2. I need 1 more. 3. All right, color's going back in my cup. I'm going to find another color that I haven't used yet. Yellow. I haven't used yellow yet. All right, so this time I think I'm going to make a square. And with my yellow, I'm going to color my squares in the way I did my polka dots. Now you could see the tip of my yellow was kind of dirty and it left some marks. It won't matter because we're going to be covering the entire dog with paint from our watercolor set. 1, 2, 3, I can put that color back. So I'm just going to have you now keep going along in your project, choosing a new color, and each time you choose a new color, try to think of a different pattern. I haven't done hearts yet. Maybe I'll do a heart. And you can take the color that's in your hand and you could go back in and color in one of your triangles. Or use that same color and color in one of your zigzag lightning bolts, or whatever pattern you made. Some of the patterns you can color in, and some of them you can leave open. Now when you're all finished using all the colors you want, then we're going to get out our paint set and we're going to start to paint. I have a few more shapes I want to make. So I'm using this dark green. I already used light green. Now I'm trying my dark green. One, two, I need it one more spot. Maybe right here, underneath his chin. I'm almost ready to paint. I think I'm going to try one more color, and then we'll get ready to paint. I'm going to try a light orange this time. I need another idea. Can you think of an idea for me? What could I do? What's another shape I could do? I've done square, triangle, circle. I've done some organic shapes. I've made a swirly whirly. What's another shape? I've done a zigzag. I know. How about a star? Now you might know how to make a different star than I'm making, but this is like a twinkly star. I'm going to take this color, I'm going to color in another one of my triangles. Now while I have this color in my hand, I'm thinking I'm going to make a few more of these wibbly wobbly lines inside my other wibbly wobbly line. Oh my goodness, we're almost ready to paint. Now the only other thing we have to do is choose a color for the eyes of our dog. Now you could make brown eyes, or orange, green, blue, purple. You pick the color that you want your dog's eyes to be. Now, of course, if you made your dog's eyes closed, we wouldn't be able to see the color of his eyes, right? Okay, I think I am done with all of my patterns. I like the way my picture's turning out. And now we're going to get ready to do some painting. So I'm going to move my crayons off to the side, move my pencil and my eraser off to the side. I'm going to move my marker, Mr. Sharpie, off to the side, and I'm going to get my paint set ready. Now, I don't know whether you brought paints today or not, and if you didn't, you could go in and do all of your detail work with markers. So if you don't have a paint set, use markers and color in between all of your crayon lines. I have paint set today, so I'm going to be working with paint. Now, you might have a different looking paint set than I do. I have a couple different ones that I like to work with, and I'm going to be using this set only because it has a few more extra colors in it. I also have my bowl of water, and I'm going to place that at the top, right above the top of my paint set. Now, I am left-handed. That means when I am writing with my pencil, I hold my pencil in this hand. If you are right-handed and you hold your pencil on this side, you need to put your paints on the other side of the table and your water on the other side of the table. But for today, since I am left-handed, they're going to be right here. I've got my water up above. I have my paint set ready. Now we're not going to just start painting. I'm going to teach you how to take care of your watercolor set. So it's very important that we're always very gentle with our watercolor set and that we never stick our brush deep into the paint. The paint is there and it needs to last a long time. What we're going to do is actually put a little bit of water on one of the colors. We're going to go with this yellow right here. So look in your paint set and find your yellow. And we're going to put a couple drops of water with our paintbrush and set it right on top of the yellow. See if I'm just setting it on? I'm not stirring it. I'm just going to let that water sit there for a little while. Now I'm going to rinse off my brush in my water bowl, and I'm going to put a couple drops of water on my green. So I'm going to drop a couple drops of water on my green. My green is right next to my yellow. Rinse your brush and set a couple drops. I'm not stirring. I'm just dropping a couple drops of water. And my next color I'm going to put some water on is blue. Scooping up some water on my brush, and I'm very gently dropping some water on my blue. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush, so I kind of wiggle it around the water, and now I'm going to put some water on purple. Now if you don't have purple in your set, you don't have to put water there. Don't worry, we can make purple later by mixing pink and blue together, or red and blue together, depending upon what paint set you have. Now I'm going to really rinse my brush out really well, and I'm going to go over now and start to put some color on my pink. And if you don't have pink, wet your red. Now I also have a red color, so I'm going to be waking up my red, putting a little bit of water on that. So now all these paints are just loosening up by that water sitting there. Now if your paint set came with orange, you can put some water on your orange. If you don't have orange, don't worry, we can make orange later by dipping our brush in yellow and then adding a tiny bit of red onto our paper. All right, let's begin our painting now. So I'm rinsing out my brush. Now you'll notice you don't hear me making this sound, because I never tap my brush on my bowl. I slide my brush up the side of the bowl like this to get the extra water off of it. Now the first color we're going to work with is the lightest color in all of my paint set, and that is yellow. Now your paint set might have come with white, But we're not going to be using white today. We're just going to be using the other colors. So I'm going to dip my brush very gently. I'm just going to tap it super soft on top of my yellow. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to paint one whole section of my dog. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paint the whole tip of his ear with yellow. So I'm scooping up that water that's up on top of my yellow and I'm going to paint the whole bottom of his ear. Now get a little bit more water on your brush and add it to the yellow. That way you have enough paint water to paint a second coat on your yellow. Tap, tap, tap. Now you want to paint about half of the ear with yellow. When you're finished, you're going to rinse out your brush. And now we're going to go over and wake up our orange. Now, if you don't have orange, you could go straight to red. I have orange on my paint set, so I'm going to tap my brush on the orange, scooping very gently onto that orange. And now I'm going to paint the next half of his ear with orange, right up to the yellow. Now, once you get the top of his ear painted orange, we're going to keep painting that orange a little farther until we get to the top of his head. So I'm going to get a little bit more water and a little bit more paint, and I'm going to keep painting orange a little higher onto his head until I get about halfway there. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush and I'm going to move on to now my red. So I'm going to go over to my red. I'm going to very gently tap my brush on the red. You notice I'm not digging my paintbrush into the paint. I'm just tapping. And now I'm going to start carrying some red into my dog's head. Going right over the crayon. And I'm painting with my paintbrush to get some red. The red looks very beautiful next to the orange. I like those colors, and I'm painting right over my crayon. I'm going to add a little bit more water to my red. And you can paint it down as far as you want it to go. I'm going to stop right about the nose. Now, once you're done painting the red, now if you have pink in your paint set, you can start to paint with pink. If your paint set didn't come with pink, then you can move on and paint with blue. I have pink in mine, so I'm going to be painting with pink. Now you should be finding that you're almost about halfway done painting your dog. So really spread that color down your picture. When you're done painting your pink, if you have purple in your paint set, you can paint with purple. My paint set did not come with purple, so I'm going to make my own purple. I'm going to take my pink and paint it a little farther down. And I'm going to add a drop of blue on top of my pink. I'm going to stir it around, and I'm going to make my own purple. When I'm done with my purple color, then I'm going to move on to painting blue. So as you're painting your dog, you do not have to paint in the same spots that I am painting. This is your picture. You can repeat the colors, or you can mix colors together too. This is kind of fun. So here's an idea. You could take one color, let's say blue, and you can paint it across your picture. So see how I'm spreading my blue across the dog? I'm going to paint the whole bottom of my dog blue, but it's not going to stay the same color. I'm going to add some color to it while it's wet. So I'm going to add a little bit more water so it's nice and juicy. And about this point, sometimes my paper starts to curl up. I just kind of push my finger down on a spot that doesn't have paint on it. Now I can make my own color by now going in and adding a color on top of the blue. So I can come over to this pretty green color and add a little water to it. And I could put a little green mixed in with my blue, and I could make my own turquoise. Ooh, that's a beautiful color. Now, if I wash my brush, I could also take my blue and add a drop of pink at the top. And it's going to make a different shade of purple because I started with blue first and added pink on top. You'll notice this purple looks a little different than this purple. It's a little bit lighter. So as you're continuing painting your picture, I'm going to have you pause the video and finish your dog and then meet me back here when your dog's all painted. I'm going to paint his nose. I haven't even decided. Maybe pink. I haven't decided yet. So go ahead and pause the video and meet me back here when you are done. All right, my amazing artists. Did you finish painting your puppy? I love my rainbow dog. Do you like your rainbow dog? I don't think my dog looks the same as Dean Russo's dog, but I love my dog just as much. Just like your picture is not going to look like Mrs. Torres's picture, but I love your picture just as much as I love Dean Russo's artwork and my artwork. They're all different and they're all colorful and beautiful. I hope you had fun today doing art with Mrs. Torres. Would you send me a picture of your rainbow puppy? I would love to see it. You can send me an email at rtorres@lcusd.net. Send me a picture. I promise I will write back to you if you email me a picture of your artwork. Hope you have a great day, and thank you so much. Bye.